welcome back to Hiveswap Friendsim! This episode we're going to play with a little baby! If you haven't watched Elsa yet, go do that. Cause that's what I started with today. And now I'm gonna go watch a Boldir, and I might not be able to finish it all the way, but I'm gonna try my best. Okay, so blah blah blah! Friendship blah! Okay, we're gonna play Boldir Lamati. I was given a suggestion as to what voice we should do, so I'm gonna keep it a surprise until she shows up and start talking. Okay. You aren't feeling it today. You're just getting more and more of these gray nights recently. Nights where the call of the streets, that infinite ramble for companionship, just sounds exhausting and meaningless. You had days like this back on Earth, too, when getting out of bed just didn't seem worth it. The sun is beginning to slip under the horizon, and usually this would be the sign to rise and shine, or rise and dark, but all you've managed to do so far this evening is make yourself some coffee. You recently mentioned to Tagora that you'd drink instant, and he was disgusted. And he was so disgusted that he gave you a coffee machine. He claimed it was an old one, though. He claimed it was an old one he doesn't use anymore, but it still had that price tag on it. On the table sits a palm husk Connell had taken off a dead kid, especially for you, and cradled in your hand is a mug Skyla sent. It looks like she painted it herself. There's a white blob on one side that you think is supposed to be Lady. You're even wearing the hoodie Malik gave to you. Blech. You're even wearing the hoodie Malik gave you to cut the evening chill. Here you are, all wrapped up in the warm embraces of your friend's goodwill, safe and sound, but deep inside you festers something. A gnawing existential dissatisfaction. That classic angst the philosophers wrote about. Your palm husk chimes and you pick it up lazily. What, another rando trying to slide into your DMs? Sorry, folks, you just don't have time for that anymore. You are a friendship connoisseur, a sommelier of the rarest of amicable vintages. You unlock the screen to find a message.
Psst, I'm not certain.
I'm sorry.
Psst, I'm not certain that this line is secure. Actually, I'm positive that it isn't.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it up. My friends wanted me to do lists, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it all the way.
Actually, I'm positive that it isn't, but I'm risking contact because it is imperative that we speak. I'm sending you rendezvous coordinates. If you wouldn't mind coming after the sun has set. Psst, I realize that this is unorthodox, but please believe me when I tell you that this is not a trick or a trap. I have important information regarding your place in Alternia.
You attempt to reply to the message, but there isn't a cursor or anywhere to input text. In fact, there doesn't even appear to be a messenger app open on your phone. It's just a random text box floating in the wind. You barely have a chance to read it all the way through before it vanishes and Google Maps opens with an address already programmed in. It's close enough to walk to, which is great, because using your stolen scuttle buggy still makes you a little nervous. You swallow the rest of your coffee and grab your shoes. Back to the coffee shop. These two bitches are still here. Your GPS leads you to a shop you recognize. It's the cafe from your weird sort of date with Linera. It's not too crowded at this time of day, but the usual studying crowd doesn't appear to be here. A couple of trolls are sitting around sharing pots of tea. Oh, hey, bitch! Okay, I never did you either, so... Jeez, what voice to give you? Fool! Fucking idiot! I explicitly stated I wanted Essence of Dayglow, not whatever this garbage is. Oh! You know this person. It really has been a minute, hasn't it? Ardata stands in front of the counter, shouting at the cash register. Whatever automated system runs the shop has apparently gotten her order wrong. What are you looking at? This is obviously none of your... Oh. It's you. Ardata swiftly covers up her surprise, examining... Ardata swiftly covers up her surprise, examining a sharp, perfectly shaped nail. You look... different. Better? Let's not exaggerate. I simply meant you looked less like toxic waste and more like Run of the grain grinder garbage. You tell her daughter that it's good to see her too. Man, this really takes you back. You've been so simple back then. So unevolved. You were laser focused on a single desire. Friendship. Now, well, you still like friends, you really do. But also you have, like, a car and a sweatshirt with somebody's sign on it. You've moved up in the world.
Sorry, my phone rang.
Fascinating. Oh, by the way, is she the one who summoned you here? Summoned? You? You must be joking. I haven't spared a single solitary thought for you since you dragged your wretched carcass out of my hive. Absently, you push your hand into the pockets of your hoodie. Something crinkles between your fingers. And you pull out a folded piece of notebook paper. Okay, this definitely hadn't been in there when you'd left your hive. You passed a couple people in the street, but you definitely don't remember any of them getting close enough to slip something in your pocket. It only says 2 words.
Out back.
Oh man, should you go? Psst. Backyards are as bad as basements. No way. Okay, listen. You've done some pretty dumb stuff since you crash landed here. For instance, following the woman standing in front of you into her basement. But not this time. Nice try, Catfisher. Important correspondence? Nah. You crumple up the page in your hand. Nothing that can't wait. Good. Impeccable timing. Just what I was hoping you would say. Oh no! Baby's gone! Funny. Funny lady. Let's go back and just skippity skipping. Okay. Go, go, go! Let's be real here. If you were ever going to refuse a suspicious invitation, you would have done it by now. You would have drawn the line at vehicle theft or murder church or anime club. You can't resist a social engagement. Your tragic flaw. Okay, I guess. Enjoy yourself. Bye, bitch. You head back through a beaded curtain, half expecting an alarm to ring. How do they keep people from just robbing stores here? Are there, like, lasers and shit? You emerge into a tidy little back garden. None of the plants here are ones you recognize from Earth, but it's still nice. It's pretty. You cross a bridge over a slow-flowing stream and find yourself looking down at a path that blooms into a tight, dizzying spiral. Maybe you're supposed to walk across it and ponder your place in the universe? Your contemplation would be inevitably cut off before it hit its climax because someone is sitting at the center of the spiral. She is a small, compact shape with her hair cut short and choppy around her chin. With her hair cut short and choppy around her chin, wearing a shapeless white dress. Really more of a robe. Hello?
I've been waiting for you.
I love your eyebrows.
Thanks for coming.
She speaks in a stage whisper, low and full of air, but still loud enough to hear across the path. You pick your way carefully across the spiral, making sure to not mess any of it up, treading only inside the lines. The girl gives you a small, secretive smile.
My name's Boldir.
You ask her if this is her garden. Does she live here? It's nice, but it's not exactly out of the elements. Actually, it looks like there's some storm clouds rolling in. You're probably going to get rain soon.
Oh yeah, my Recupero raccoon is over there under that tree.
She smiles again, and you can't tell if she's messing around. In fact, she is entirely unreadable, like her face is a totally reflective surface, and all you're seeing is the cloudy sky in the garden. You can't tell how she feels about you at all.
Would you like to sit down?
Hold on. Would you like... I don't think I can do this. The voice. Or else I'm saying, would you like to sit down? Inside the circle, or... Sorry, it's the time of night where I'm going to be getting a rather large amount of interruptions. She looks around like she is only realizing that she is at the center of a complicated geometric pattern.
It doesn't matter. I only wanted to see if you would follow the path or trample through it. But you did neither. You forged your way while taking care to preserve that which much has come before.
You ask her what that means.
Maybe nothing. I'm not sure.
The wind tosses her hair, and the clouds chase each other across the sky. If the rain comes, it will come soon. Boldir continues to look at you as you shift awkwardly and shiver, pushing your hands into your hoodie. This is different than any other friend meetup you've had before, even with the others who purposefully sought you out. There's a serenity to Boldir that all the rest lack. Or maybe that's just this zen as fuck gardens getting to you. You try to remember what Boldir said to you in the message that she somehow managed to make appear on your phone and then immediately self-immolate. She has some information for you about your place on Alternia or some shit like that.
Did I say that? I guess I did. I suppose I wanted a chance to talk to you a bit before the end. I was starting to feel a little, jealous, maybe?
Right. You guess everybody who's been going on about the funny dumb alien robot who's been prowling the countryside.
No, that's not it. Though I'm sure you're very funny. I just wanted a chance to talk to you. Someone who is so adrift in the swell of fate and the whims of the paradox.
Paradox? You don't know anything about paradoxes. Well, you know what they are. You just don't see why they're relevant.
They aren't. Paradoxes aren't relevant by their very nature. It's the essence of that nature that makes them so integral to this story.
You shake your head. You're not built for this cosmic stuff. You're just an orphan from Earth with quick fingers. For spaceships and apparently vehicles. Boldir gives you another sly smile.
Oh? Quick fingers?
You blush. You hadn't meant that as a dirty joke or anything. Also, your fingers are nowhere near as quick as hers. She somehow got a piece of paper in your pocket while you were standing in the cafe, and she was back here. That's like reverse pickpocketing through astral projection. Where are you going? Boldir laughs. She stands up and moves across the garden path, following the spiral so swiftly and efficiently that she might as well be floating. She drifts over to one of the trees, pulling a coat down from where it's slung over a branch. You're cute. It covers her from chin to ankles, coming together to form an olive green symbol on her chest that looks like a question mark without the dot. A broad-brimmed hat finishes out the ensemble.
Well, I can't teach you astral projection, but pickpocketing is actually quite simple. Would you care to learn? Ideally, we need a third person to act as the mark, but I think we can make it work.
More crime, huh? Let's do some crime. Sure! Let's do crime! This whole mess started with the theft of a spaceship. And if Boldir is right about all that fate horse shit, that was supposed to happen. So, maybe I'll lean into it.
Perfect. The first and most important aspect of the art of pickpocketing is staying unobtrusive.
You think about mentioning that walking around in a great big coat and floppy hat is not the most unobtrusive thing you've ever seen, but you aren't the expert here. Also, you're an alien, so you don't really have room to talk. Maybe you should just get a big coat like that yourself. You just love ripping looks off all your friends. Boldir takes you through the basics of criminal sleight of hand, and on the whole, you aren't too bad. Excuse me. In fact, you think you might have a future in it if you weren't already on the career path of professional friendshipper. You don't know what this has to do with her learning about you or teaching you your place on Alternia, but it's fun, and Boldir is a good teacher. If there's one thing this journey has taught you, it's that when something isn't actively painful or destructive, just ride it out. You don't think that you'll be going around pickpocketing many trolls. Enough of them already want to kill you. But it's good to have the skill on reserve if you ever need cash fast and don't feel like hitting up any of your rich friends. You wonder if Boldir uses it for anything besides passing notes.
Psst. My sources tell me that you've been in Alternia for almost 3 paragrees now.
You have no idea how long a paragree is, but what the hell? Sure.
Impressive. No wonder.
He trails off thoughtfully and shakes her head. You wish she would say something with substance to it instead of just vague nonsense. But at least she isn't threatening you with violence or trying to stick wires into you, so you're counting this interaction successful so far. Also, you feel weirdly chilled out with Boldir. Sure, you want to be friends, but there's none of that stomach-churning, spine-bending desperation to make sure she likes you, at whatever the cost. You feel more awake than you have in weeks. Man, you've got to learn to pickpocket in a garden behind a cafe more often if this is what it does to your stress levels.
Want to get something to eat? Or maybe just coffee, because that's what they serve here.
Sure, you could use another caffeinated beverage on top of another caffeinated beverage you had earlier. Why not? You'll sleep when you're dead.
If only.
You follow her out of the garden and back into the cafe. Who's this now? Yet another friend? Oh, Ardata, you're still here. Of course I am, fool. You were back there for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Wow, it felt way longer than that. Guess you underestimated the power of a good training montage. You introduce Ardata to Boldir with the cheerful earnestness of someone who has forgotten the systematic class system of the planet on which they currently reside. Ardata stops you with an aristocratic sneer. Stop, before I have to stop you myself. I have absolutely no desire to mix with those so low on the social ladder. What in the world could she have to offer me? You shrug. You're not sure. Maybe friendship? You know, friendships between people of different castes are possible. You've seen them happen. Regardless, you feel bad for exposing your newest friend to the vaguely nonsensical abuses of your oldest. You turn back to Boldir. I love her face. You turn back to Boldir to apologize and find her gazing coolly at Ardata like she could do it all night. There's none of the fear or reverence or false obedience that you've seen other lower bloods display to blues. Instead, Boldir looks at Ardata like she's a bug. Worse. A pebble that she would have just loved to kick out of the way.
Psst. Nice to meet you in person, Miss Carmia. I hear your GrubTube channel has been losing subscribers recently. I wonder why that is.
Blue hits Ardata's cheeks in an angry flush. I'm currently on hiatus. The old garbage was getting tired. I have so many imitators that my own content is starting to seem derivative. She gives one of her maniacal laughs, but it's a little less robust than usual. Man, the wild tundra of internet fame really is a stark and arid battleground. In fact, I have a new feature in the works as we speak. She holds up the little vial she'd been haggling with the cash register over earlier. Poison. I think the best and most expedient process would just be to dose my featured guest's food and then hide the antidote somewhere in my hive. Unless you have another idea? She smiles, sly and mean. Boldir smiles back, just as vicious. Great. Have fun with that. While Boldir talks, the eyes start flicking from you to Ardata and then down. Again and again, you, Ardata, and down. It takes a couple of go-rounds before you realize what she's telling you. She keeps looking down at your hands, which are stuck in your hoodie pocket, exactly where you found the note Boldir slipped to you. Ardata is carrying a bag that looks expensive and extremely goth, and you can see where the vial of poison is sticking out. Oh man, you know what you have to do. Yeah. When a group comes into the shop and pushes past the three of you, you move in on Ardata and slip a hand into her bag, palming the smooth, cold vial. She gives you a weird look. Like, why are you suddenly all up on me, peon? But she doesn't notice the theft. I suppose I'll be going now. And if I were you, I'd be more mindful of who I choose to associate myself with in the future. You say bye to her, feeling the tiniest bit guilty, but she's planning to use this poison to do murder theater in her prison basement, so you don't feel that bad.
Take care now.
Ardata leaves and Boldir takes an inquisitive step closer.
Psst, show me.
You open your hand to display the spoils, flushed with criminal euphoria. Oh. Oh, hell no. You grabbed the wrong fucking vial. This one is blue, not red. You grabbed the antidote, not the poison. God, you honestly thought you were moving past these kinds of cock-ups.
Oh. Damn. Well, at least you have the antidote now. You never know when one of those might come in handy.
She sways forward and clutches at her neck. For a confused second, you think she's doing an impression of someone who might need an antidote. Then she falls to her knees. You dart forward and catch her before she can totally eat it. She's heavier than she looks, compact muscle and a coat full of an ungodly number of weapons. She has like 4 guns in here. What the hell? Your arms are full, so you can only watch. Helpless. There's a troll in a hood that covers their face and their horns books it out the door. You shout that same... Oh my god. You shout that some fucker just stabbed your friend, but nobody here is looking at you. It's the same way people on Earth might ignore a mother trying to calm a toddler throwing a tantrum, just turning their eyes away from a distasteful public scene.
How? Damn it.
You put a hand up to Boldir's neck to try to staunch the bleeding, but there isn't any bleeding. Bewildered, you pull apart the lapels of her coat to see a single drop of olive blood trembling above her collarbone. Discoloration spreads in a dark spill all over her neck and radiating down her chest. You both say it at the same time.
Poison.
You open your hand to look at the tiny blue vial, then back up to Boldir. Her eyes are glassy, her skin going blotchy and ashen. There is no reason to believe that Ardot is poison, and the poison that the assassin used are the same antidote. It already strains the power of coincidence that you grabbed the antidote at all.
You're probably right. Maybe you should try it anyway? I can't feel my legs.
Right. Maybe the mere fact that this is such an unlikely happenstance means it will be the right antidote. Everything you've done so far has had the pull of inevitability to it, especially all of your interactions with Boldir.
Great. Awesome. I'm glad you're realizing your inherent significance to this particular microcosm of causation. Now can you please pour that stuff in my mouth so I can swallow it and possibly not die?
You help Boldir tip her head back and you put the vial to her lips. At the last minute you wonder if it's supposed to be diluted, but Boldir gulps the whole thing down and immediately begins to shake. Holy... Smoke billows out of her nostrils and open mouth, and holy shit, what is going on? This doesn't seem like any type of antidote to you. But then the smoke clears and Boldir opens up her eyes. Her big yellow eyes. How does she feel?
Alive? Marginally.
She lets you help her to her feet. You immediately pull her into a fierce yet gentle hug. It's wild to undergo someone else's near-death experience. You feel like you know her way better than one montage scene's worth. Another new friend!
Oof. Not so tight.
You ease up a little. All the tea sippers are staring at you now. Death apparently isn't interesting, but the possibility of some quadrantation stuff they are suddenly all about. Sorry, assholes. Just you and your new friend sharing a touching post-near-fatal encounter. Nothing to see here. You poor baby. Not dying is pretty good, though, I guess. Alright, let's... I did the little bad one already. So, I guess now we are gonna go... No crime. No crime in my house, please. You've already got a hell of a rap sheet. Maybe it would be best not to add any new skills that could lead you into temptation.
Fair enough. Would you care to go for a stroll? It's a nice night.
It's a windy, unsettled night, and it looks like rain. So, you suppose that's nice, depending on your definition. You'd absolutely love to take a stroll. That's your whole vibe recently. Strolling. You follow her out through a little back gate and into the street. You leave the cafe behind and are quickly consumed by the drift of the midnight crowd. You brace for the inevitable pitying, hostile looks you get whenever you go out in public. You should have mentioned that you try to avoid large groups, but strangely, no one even glances at you. It's like Boldir exudes a sneaky aura that encompasses the both of you. As you walk, you ask her if she really believes in fate. Like, the two of you were always going to meet and nothing could have happened any differently no matter what you did. Boldir gives you a thoughtful sidelong glance.
Well, that would imply that none of our choices matter, and that causality is inevitable. That randomness is irrelevant, right?
Sure. You scamper to keep up with her, both physically and mentally. For someone who asked you to take a stroll, she sure is booking it down the street.
But that disregards our choices. Fate dictates that all possibilities are, by their very nature, necessities. Or, rather, the choice you made was the only one you ever could make. I doubt the universe is that simple.
Doesn't sound simple to you, but you hum and nod sagely because you want Boldir to think you're deep.
Instead of asking yourself whether you were meant to meet me and meant to be here, it makes more sense to wonder what the forces are that have conspired to bring it into being.
Well, that would be exhaustion and ineptitude. You don't exactly remember what happened, but you're sure it involved something stupid like falling asleep at the wheel and drifting off into another solar system. It had been a rough 48 hours, you know? A lot of escaping and running and punching and stealing of high-powered vehicles.
Yes, of course. I understand. All in a day's work.
She stops you at most intersections so she can take surreptitious glances around the corner before gesturing you forward. Every so often she will turn the two of you around to double back. You aren't exactly sure why. Maybe she thinks you're being followed, but who would follow you from a cafe?
All sorts. But don't worry. I know how to shake off a tail.
You cross one of the main thoroughfares and a big black bird swoops at your head. You yelp and duck, but when you look around you see that the bird has landed on Boldir's arm and she's stroking its back. You brace yourself for it to start talking or some shit like that because that's what your life is like right now, but it just sticks its leg out for Boldir to remove a scrap of paper. A blackbird? I said blackbird, right? Yeah, blackbird. So, is this not a Lucis species, or do they actually come in other colors? It waits patiently for her to read the message and then scribble something on the back before attaching it to the crow and throwing it back into the air. Man, that's some Harry Potter ass shit.
One of my informants wants to rendezvous in meat space. Unusual, but it has been an unusual day.
Unusual couple of months, honestly.
Yes, of course. You've had it much harder than I have. What was I thinking?
Well, we weren't trying to get into a contest of whose life sucks more, but yeah, it's been rough. You appreciate that she can see that.
A lot of planets to be forced to Alternia is, well, not ideal. Not the worst, but you still have my sympathies. Is there anything at all you like about it?
What about Alternia? Well, you're kind of digging this whole night as day thing. You're from a diurnal species, but you've always been a bit of a night owl. Also, not to brag, but you've made some seriously cool friends.
Yes, I've been following your exploits. Your friendship acquisition procedures are really quite impressive.
Aw, now you're blushing. You ask Boldir how she knows that much about your exploits, because it's only pretty recently that you've had any sort of real social media presence. You suppose she could have a Gorgle alert like Malik did, but...
Quick, around here.
Oh, spooky. Boldir leads you to a deserted lot between two buildings. There's nothing here except some broken bottles and a pile of old rubber tires. She leaves you behind the tire to keep watch, although she is probably just doing it to get you out of the way, which, fair. Then she heads out into the center of the lot, presumably to wait for her contact. You sit here twiddling your thumbs, trying to suppress the desire to pull out your phone. That doesn't seem very covert ops. You're just starting to get really antsy, jittering your leg and cracking your knuckles and digging a little hole in the dirty with a stick, when you hear something strange beneath the wind. A swish followed by a thunk. Oh no, not again! Boldir jerks and clutches her neck. You writhe from your rubber pile, sending tires flying. You look wildly up to the surrounding buildings, trying to find where the projectile came from. You don't see anyone, not even a lone gunman. You run for your new friend, not spending a thought for your own safety. The clouds move overhead like someone has put them on fast forward. The wind rattling the trash on the pavement. By the time you reach Boldir, she has begun to twitch in hard spasms. And look at the blotchy stains spreading across her neck, and there's no doubt. You both say it at the same time.
Poison.
You fall to your knees beside her. Oh God, what are you supposed to do? You don't know anything about poison or first aid or anything else useful. God, why are you such a fucking waste of space? You could have just been gaining some life skills instead of just loafing around like a complete idiot. You...
Stop. Don't. There isn't time. This stuff acts fast.
Boldir takes hard, gasping breaths between each word. Her eyes are going cloudy. She makes a desperate grab for your hands.
Listen.
For the first time, her voice rises above a whisper. Her grip is surprisingly strong. You tell her to save her strength, but she shakes her head so hard her hat falls off. I'm not important. You tell her to stop being dramatic. Of course she's important. I'm not being dramatic. Maybe a little because I'm dying. But still, remember what I said about fate. Fuck fate. You don't want anything to do with it if this is the kind of shit that it's going to pull on you. So many of your friends have died because of you. Because of your incredible inability to... The world twists and stutters. Your guts are a record and that record is skipping. For a moment, you're sure that whoever that poison-shooting bastard is has shot you too, but then your vision clears and you feel the rain on the back of your neck. The world rolling back to you in waves of color and sound. The dark sky splits open on the fault line of lightning. Boldir's hand goes limp in your own. With shaking fingers, you reach out to touch her motionless cheek. Fuck. Fuck. Not again. Why? An uncontrollable wave of despair washes over you as you look down at the corpse of this girl you barely know. Where are all these feelings coming from? There's honestly too many of them. Why are they... Oh my fucking god, she fucking dead. Again? Must I do everything myself? What the fuck? What the fuck? Well, that's some spooky shit. I don't even know what to say. I'm sad, but I'm really confused. Was that line at the end me, or some kind of higher being? I'm a little confused because we haven't killed a lot of people, have we? Does Protag have a backstory? Why were they fleeing Earth?
I guess I'll have to make another episode of Friend Theory.
Just kidding, that's not a serious thing. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think about all this. And, see you in 2 weeks. Bye.